Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. So, this is my very first attempt at trying to record conversations with friends. And I'm going to call it Let's Talk About It. So, my name is KaTonya, and you are?
I'm Aowen.
Ooh, I like that. What does that name mean?
Oh, it's complicated. I created it from Lord of the Rings,
Oh.
a character, a woman I really admire
Uh-huh.
in that series, and also from the ancient Druids in Britain. It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
They had a word Aowen that meant the inspiration you feel to create music or poetry, the feeling you get when you see incredible beauty in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just put the two words together and spelled it my own way and gave myself a new name.
Okay, yes. Feel it, live in it, empowerment. Lovely. The reason I have asked you to join me today and the reason why I'm doing this is to spread awareness, just speak out, stomp out mental health, stigma, let people know that it is okay to talk, to seek help, and we're going to normalize it. All things are open and on the table. Once we get moving, we'll just answer questions that people in the community may have. And I just want to give a quick little overview of what kind of success stories have you heard or have you experienced yourself with therapy or, peer counseling, which is what you do. And she's amazing at it, by the way. Where's the camera? She's amazing at it, by the way. So, what experiences have you had to give, chills?
Oh, man. So many, really. I was incredibly broken. I felt shattered inside from a number of things that I experienced in childhood and then in high school and then in college that were incredibly intense, multiple sexual assaults, a brother who ran guns for the Hells Angels, just a lot of crazy stuff. And I dissociated a lot. I felt like I wasn't real, some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of personal work on my own while I was raising 4 kids as a single mom.
Ooh.
I finally was able to get some trauma therapy about 6 years ago. And part of that was EMDR.
Nice.
And yeah. So between all of that, I felt integrated, like all these parts of myself that had been broken off just came together. And there was this one instance I used to have all these dreams and nightmares, and I was always 2 people in my dreams, a little boy and a little girl. And I felt like basically the strong part of me had to split off and go into hiding to be safe. I had to be sweet and kind and good at all times in order to be safe. And so in my dreams, I was always those 2 things. And in this one EMDR session, just following all these what seemed like random threads, I just all of a sudden had this image of that little boy and that little girl high-fiving each other and saying, "We did it. It worked." And all of a sudden, I physically felt this integration. Like they came back together and became one. And it was a visceral experience of something deep inside integrating. And I walked out of that session like a different person.
Wow. I call it magic. Doesn't it seem like it's just magic? I do. It's like, wow, that is amazing. Was it scary for you, working through that? Was it a really difficult process for you?
Not really, because I was so ready. I was, by that time, I was in my early 50s. And I had done so much work. I had raised my kids on this remote island in Lake Michigan, in Wisconsin, and had experienced so much isolation and solitude. I was ready. I was ready to do the work and face the monsters. So, yeah, I wasn't really holding back.
Are you glad you did it?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And it was out of that work that I decided to change my whole name, because I felt so fundamentally changed and different. It was like my birth name is not who I am anymore.
I remember that was amazing.
I need a new.
Yes. Way to go. What would you suggest for people who are experiencing a lot of trauma right now with everything that's going on across the country? Like, how would you, is that possible to work through, do you think, even with therapy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
You have to be willing to be afraid to sit with heavy head. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Absolutely. Shit. What the fuck? How about that?
Okay. That was one of my liberating things, because I was a pastor's daughter. And so for me to curse like a sailor is so freeing. But yeah, you got to be willing to face your shit and sit in it.
Yes.
And be with it and deal with it. But my God, like, the whole universe can open up to you if you'll go there.
Yes.
It's so worth it.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of when I'm talking to white people about what us Black people are going through, it's kind of like they feel uncomfortable in it. And then it's a lot of negating and, well, this does too. And it's like putting things together. Well, I remember when we did. What do you think that's about? Like, how come it's hard for people to maybe listen or acknowledge or understand the struggles and not see it as taking away from anything?
Yeah. First of all, I'm just really sorry that happens, because it sucks. It sucks when people take the attention away from where it belongs. All I can figure is, I mean, well, we white people just seem to be really fragile. But I think, I don't know, I wondered about this. Like, I think if people have not faced their own demons deeply, like really done their own inner deep work and faced their trauma, their sense of self isn't solid. There's a lot of insecurity and maybe shattered self-esteem, so they maybe don't have the capacity to sit with another person's pain and just be present to it. And I don't say that to excuse it, but simply like trying to understand, like, why this response. And just in my work as a peer, and taking it maybe out of the context of what you raised, I just see that in general. Like, people are afraid to sit with other people's pain in general. It makes them uncomfortable. I don't know if they feel they have to fix it or what it is, but it takes great courage, I guess.
Yeah.
To just be with someone else's devastation.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you were being blamed when it's like white people do this or white people don't listen? Anything white people. Do you take that on personally?
I don't. Yeah, I know. I mean, I can see where it's easy to do that and to feel, but then again, I think it goes back to, if you've done your own personal inner healing work, you're not going to be threatened by that stuff. You're going to see that and realize, you know, if they're talking to me, if that applies to me, then I need to look at it. And if not, then it's not meant for me and don't take it on.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I think it goes back to do your own goddamn work.
For the love of
and then you'll be able to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, what's that about? There's something in there that's uncomfortable and it's shaking and it's not good to sit with. And so we want to stop that feeling so that it's like, okay, now I'm back at a peaceful, calm state. Because before it was rumbling, like simmering, like a pot of hot water, and it's boiling and it's boiling, and it's like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. It's going to boil over. So I need to take it off the stove. And now this is better. I can take the heat away, and then everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that do for anybody?
Right.
Nothing. It's really sad. Example, I have a community Facebook. I posted about this. It was saying, be careful for like the looters and the protesters and, gang affiliation. And so in my mind, it's like, okay, this is a part of me that I can share, I can talk about, and bring awareness to what is happening and what that can be like. And classifying, the protesters and the looters all in one. What is that actually saying? What are you saying about the movement, about what's happening, and there's no difference? Like, what is the fear? And without facts, it's perpetrating that agenda, and anxiety is going to go, and it's like, okay, I need to get my guns, go protect my house, look for any suspicious activity. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. My son reaching over the gate is suspicious in his own home, and now everything is heightened. It's like, tell your neighbors if you see him, lock the note and shoot him. It's like he could lose his life over something that was based on a Twitter, tweet. I guess that's how you say it, tweet. And then it's all of a sudden I'm calling somebody a racist. How did that come out when I'm raising awareness as to what it could be like, what it could sound like? And so it's like, I feel people say, like, check me on my shit, so I can help. And I want to, yeah. But then when you do, it's kind of like, oh, wait, no, I don't like the way you did that. What are you trying to say about me? It's like,
yeah.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. What do you want me to do? Like, so you got to tiptoe with it. Like, I'm uncomfortable. So you want me to be uncomfortable so that you can still make sure that you're sitting pretty and not disturbed. How does that work? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I wish there's a group on Twitter I love called White Nonsense Roundup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's white folks who have volunteered to be available to people of color on social media when people say stupid shit like that, so that you don't have to invest your emotional energy in explaining and arguing. You can contact them and they'll hop in to your mention and take the white folks on.
Nice.
Like, we're gonna round up our own people and get them in line, because that's not your job.
Right.
And that's I'd love to see more of that. Like, yes. I think that's really cool.
How do you do that? Like, how can people do that without fear of like losing their position? I don't know how else to feel about it. It's kind of like, if I speak out about it, then maybe you guys are gonna see me that way, or I'm not gonna, I don't want to say privilege, but it's like, then you guys aren't going to like me anymore either. It's kind of like, reminds me of like elementary school type thing. Oh, I don't like you, so we all don't type thing.
Yeah. Who are you saying, like, wouldn't like you either?
Like, so, like, if I was a white person and I'm silenced when a person of color or another person speaks out against the injustice, why not speak? What keeps you from speaking out? It's like, well, then they're going to see that I'm doing this, or then I'm not, for the other cause, or whatever the case may be, that keeps people silent out of fear of judgment from their peers.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like there was so much exactly of what you just said that came out right after the election in 2016. You remember, what was it? The Pantsuit Nation group on Facebook, and how it just exploded with white women being so fragile around feeling personally attacked when anyone tried to just have a conversation. And a lot of women ultimately were willing to finally shut up and just listen. and a lot weren't. And I don't know, I guess for me, I try to find ways to approach them non-judgmentally and not attacking, so as not to provoke the defensiveness. But I mean, I guess it's going to happen.
Yeah,
Sometimes
you
you
don't
can't.
see it. We're angry, and it's like you don't care. And then when somebody posts all black, for the Blackout Tuesday, and then you post all black with a blue line through it, that's a slap in the face. Like, Blue Lives Matter. Okay, yes, they do. How do you not understand? Yes, all lives matter, but right now, ours are the one that is really needing some assistance. And you can't take off your skin color, like you're black. Blue Lives Matter. Yes, blue come in all colors. And at the end of the day, they can choose whether to be a police officer or not. If it gets too heavy, if it gets too whatever, they can say, you know what? I'm turning in my badge. We can't, nor do we want to, turn in our black cards. It's like, this is us all day, every day. You can't just, I'm going to put on my uniform today, my superhero suit. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Why don't the people understand? I don't get it.
There's such simple examples or metaphors, like to give people, and if they don't get those, then I don't know what you can do. But like, if you go to a breast cancer fundraiser, you don't stand up and shout, well, what about lung cancer?
Right.
That matters. It's like, well, yeah, of course it matters. But we're here for breast cancer today. Like, God. Or if a house is burning and the fire department shows up, you don't scream, well, what about all the other houses?
Right.
They're not on fire.
Yeah.
Of course they matter, but they're not burning. Like,
what don't you get? I don't understand. Yeah. And then wonder, like, but I don't get, how come you don't want to talk to us? Or how come you have fear? Because you don't get it. You don't understand, and you don't seem to care or want to understand. That is scary. And to hear a lot of things being said and to see it online in your community, you don't know if that's your neighbor. The sad fact of the matter is you can pick me out. There's not very many of us here. It's like, oh yeah, there's a black person over there. Okay, I got white people. Like, I wouldn't know who you are, where you are. So I would rather isolate and keep us all together. And then when people hear it, it's like, I don't want, like, oh my gosh. No, do something. That's what I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I'm not, I got this over here. But what can you do so that I don't have to be on guard? How can I not, like, hold my breath when my son goes and runs around the block? That is what it is. Like, do your job and we'll be fine. And then that feeling of superior, like, where some may feel that, they're high up there because, what we're going through, and that puts them in a better place. Like, I have another narrative. Like, we're that amazingly dope that it's intimidating. Like, I can change that narrative real quick. Like, we're not afraid. We're not, like, scared. We're trying to survive. And to have to kill somebody, what's that say about you? I mean, yeah, take out the threat, right? I don't know. That's what you're making it seem like. It's like, we're not worried about that. Like, that's your own little power struggle. That's why things are peaceful. We don't want to fight. We don't gotta, flex our muscles to show that we already know. Can we all just do it together? That's all we want. Can we just all come together? I don't understand what makes it so difficult. And so asking some of the tough questions, I think, is going to help me understand and help others understand without feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't say anything because it may not be the right thing. But not saying anything is worse to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's like tiptoeing around. It's like, it's a thing. Be uncomfortable like we are. Say, oh my gosh, that sucks. What can I do? Versus, I didn't do that. It wasn't me. It's not all white people. Oh my gosh. Okay, if it's not you, then know that on the inside that it's not you, and do what you can to continue to do that and to help the people around you who are not. Hold them accountable. We can scream from the rooftops all day. We're not going to be heard. unless we have a force with us amplifying it.
Yeah.
So I can go on and on and on about that. Man, oh man, oh man. But thank you so much. This was our little test run. Hopefully it recorded. And I don't have to do this again. Hopefully I did it right. I don't know. It's the first time. We're going to figure it out because this is something I want to talk. And we're just going to, let's talk about it. Send us questions. We'll have guest speakers. We'll have returning guest speakers. We'll have just little old me. And whatever it is that you want to talk about, like, get it off your chest. Like, I hear you. I want to hear you. I want to understand. Let's amplify it the best way we can. And so one thing that I always want to do that I didn't do with this one is ask, what was something good that happened to you today?
I was able to reach out to a coworker who was a woman of color and be present with her pain.
Yeah.
And that meant the world to me, to be able to just be present for her.
Yeah.
And hear her feelings about something.
Yeah.
Specific to anti-racism.
And thank you for that. Like, that is a breath of fresh air, because oftentimes it's minimized. Like, we're fine, we're okay, because you make it uncomfortable, or you may fight us, or whatever the case may be. Like, no, we don't want to. It's exhausting. And so for someone to reach out and to, I'm here, like, say it, whatever you're feeling, and to validate and not negate, that is huge. So thank you for that. I know she was moved as well. I can only imagine. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so with that, just think of something that you can do over the next course of, we'll say the week, because I'm going to try and do this weekly, to better yourself. To better yourself and to be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you. We're going to have our little outro music dance on a happy note. Hey.